Most people assume earning more money should solve their financial stress. It sounds logical. Higher income means more room to breathe, more security, more freedom. Yet something strange happens in real life. People get raises, promotions, better jobs, and somehow the feeling of being behind doesn't disappear. In many cases, it gets worse. The pressure increases. The gap between what they have and what they think they should have expands faster than their income ever could. Picture a simple scenario. Someone earns $100,000 per month. Their expenses sit at $80,000. They feel tight, but stable. Then income doubles to $200,000. You would expect relief. Instead, expenses quietly climb to $180,000. The margin barely changes. The stress remains. The lifestyle improves, but the sense of financial safety does not. This is not bad luck. It is a predictable pattern. The core concept is simple. Income does not determine wealth. The gap between income and spending does. And that gap is fragile. It shrinks easily under social pressure, habits, and identity shifts. The moment income increases, expectations follow. Not slowly, immediately. This is where psychology steps in and ruins the clean math. Humans do not treat money as numbers. They treat it as a signal. Income becomes a measure of identity. When income rises, the mind updates what feels normal. What once felt like luxury becomes baseline. What once felt expensive becomes reasonable. The brain resets faster than the bank account grows. There is also the problem of visibility. When you earn more, you gain access to environments where higher spending is the standard. Better neighborhoods, better social circles, better options. Every upgrade feels justified because it aligns with your new level. You are not trying to impress anyone, at least not consciously. You are trying to fit in. That subtle shift is expensive. Now layer in comparison. People rarely compare downward. They compare sideways or upward. Someone earning $200,000 no longer compares themselves to someone earning $100,000. They compare to someone earning $300,000. The reference point moves. Satisfaction stays out of reach. This creates a permanent feeling of being slightly behind, even while objectively improving. There is a behavioral loop here. Higher income leads to higher spending. Higher spending creates new financial commitments. Those commitments require maintaining or increasing income. That dependency increases pressure. Pressure reduces flexibility. And suddenly, earning more has trapped the person in a tighter system than before. The math is not complicated, which makes it more frustrating. If income is I and expenses are E, then wealth growth depends on I minus E. When I increases, E often increases at a similar or faster rate. If I doubles, but E nearly doubles, the surplus barely changes. In some cases, it shrinks due to poor decisions made under the illusion of affordability. Take two individuals. Person A earns $100,000 and saves $20,000. Person B earns $200,000 and saves $10,000. On the surface, Person B looks more successful. In reality, Person A is building wealth faster. Over time, this gap compounds. The higher earner feels richer but becomes poorer in relative terms. History shows this pattern across income levels. As economies grow and incomes rise, consumption rises with it. This is not a modern problem. It has repeated across decades and countries. When access expands, spending expands. The system encourages it. Advertising, social norms, and credit availability all push in the same direction. Credit deserves a mention here because it accelerates the illusion. When income increases, access to credit improves. Larger loans become available. Monthly payments replace upfront costs. This makes expensive decisions feel manageable. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" people ask, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" That small shift changes everything. It disconnects spending from actual capacity. The emotional side is harder to see, but more important. Higher income raises stakes. People fear losing their lifestyle. A person earning $100,000 with simple expenses can adapt quickly if income drops. A person earning $200,000 with complex obligations cannot. The second person becomes more fragile despite earning more. That fragility creates anxiety, not peace. There is also identity locking. Once someone upgrades their life, downgrading feels like failure. Even if it is financially smart, it carries psychological cost. This requires a shift in how money is viewed. Instead of treating income as permission to spend more, it should be treated as an opportunity to increase the gap. Every increase in income creates a decision point. expand lifestyle, or expand future security. Most people choose the first option without thinking. The second option is quieter. It lacks social rewards. It builds slowly. It works. There is also a need for stable benchmarks. Instead of adjusting expectations with every income change, define a fixed standard of living that meets your needs. Improve it deliberately, not automatically. That prevents the constant reset that traps people. Another factor is awareness of environment. If your circle normalizes high spending, your baseline shifts whether you like it or not. This does not mean isolating yourself, but it does mean recognizing the pressure. Awareness reduces unconscious decisions. The math reinforces the psychology. Small differences in savings rate create large differences over time. A person saving 10% of income versus 30% does not just save 3 times more. They reach financial independence dramatically faster. Time amplifies discipline. It punishes inconsistency. In the end, earning more money is not the problem. The expectation attached to it is. People expect relief, but they carry the same habits into a larger system. The result is a more expensive version of the same stress. The uncomfortable truth is simple. If your behavior does not change, your financial experience will not change. The numbers will get bigger, the pressure will scale with them, and you will sit there, earning more than you once dreamed of, wondering why it still feels insufficient. That is not a failure of income. It is a failure of control over what happens after the income arrives.